Why modern men secretly miss the apocalypse. And no, it's not about wanting chaos and destruction. It's not even about the survivalist fantasies that get turned into TV shows. It's about the fantasy of a simpler post-collapse world where men's instincts and roles matter again, where strength, courage, and problem solving aren't just appreciated, they're required. Because what we live in now doesn't need most of what we're built for. Instead of testing our courage, we're told to sit still. Instead of protecting what matters, we're told to stay in our lane. Instead of solving real problems, we're solving fake ones that were invented for us by managers, bureaucrats, and politicians. So yeah, no wonder some men look at post-apocalyptic worlds in movies or books and think to themselves, that right there actually sounds more real than what I have now. And for me, this isn't just an idea on a screen or on a page. Ever since I became a single dad and had to live with the harsh realities of parental alienation in the court system, I've been absolutely captivated by post-apocalyptic movies. Because if that world actually happened, it wouldn't be chaos for me. It wouldn't. It would be utter freedom from this prison I'm in right now. And it's not only men in my situation who feel this way. Even men who haven't been through what I've been through can look at the state of this world and feel the exact same way. Because this world is a prison. This culture is a prison. We do need a reset. We need the power grid to go down and the good times to end. Modernity has given us comfort, immense comfort, but at a heavy cost. We've traded challenge for convenience, and we're convinced that that's progress. Our ancestors woke up with one mission, and that was survive the day. For hunting, they hunted, they gathered, they built, protected, taught. Each action and calorie mattered. If you didn't pull your weight, someone went hungry, someone went cold, someone got hurt. Now you can go through an entire week without doing a single thing that matters in a tangible way. You can sit in climate-controlled buildings and answer emails and attend video calls and submit forms and feel busy, but not fulfilled. You can eat food someone else grew and shipped and cooked without ever smelling the soil it came from. And you can drink water without knowing the river it flowed from. You can go to Home Depot and buy tools you'll never use. The handle still smooth and untouched instead of worn and warm from real work. And on paper, yeah, you're secure. But deep down, you know you're also replaceable, right? Your life could be picked up by someone else tomorrow without much disruption to the machine. You know it. And that's not survival. That's existing in a numb, bureaucratic prison. And history has shown us that you don't always need barbed wire and guards to be a prisoner. Alexander Solzhenitsyn, he learned that the hard way. If you don't know who he was a decorated Soviet officer in World War II. He was a man who fought for his country until a private letter criticizing the regime got him arrested. They came for him without warning in the middle of the night. One moment, he was among comrades, and the next he was in a freezing interrogation cell with the smell of damp concrete in the air and a single light bulb swaying overhead. He endured endless questioning, endless, under the gaze of men whose faces never moved and their voices cold and deliberate. And then came the transport, a rattling train car in the dead of winter. No heat, no insulation. Men packed so tightly they could only shift when someone else collapsed. 8 years. 8 years in the Soviet gulag system followed that. Winter so cold your breath froze to your beard. Mornings when you woke with frost on your blanket from your own exhaled air. And hands cracked and bleeding from splitting wood in minus 40 winds. Bellies aching with hunger so deep it turned men against each other over just a crust of bread. When Solzhenitsyn was released, he wrote the Gulag Archipelago. And not just to tell the story of the camps, but to expose the machinery behind them. He showed how a society doesn't always need to build walls to take away your freedom. Sometimes the walls are made of paperwork, signatures, fear, and silent compliance. And that's what chills me. You don't need a gulag to live in one. Here's the thing about post-collapse worlds. They strip away all the noise, all of it. In that world, no one cares about your resume. No one cares about your brand. No one cares whether you fit into some corporate culture. The only thing that matters is what you can do. Can you find food? And not in a store, but in the frostbitten earth, digging with numb fingers until your nails crack? Can you fix a shelter? Hearing the wind whistle through broken boards, the smell of wet smoke clinging to your clothes as you patch it. Can you navigate terrain? Boots crunching through snow that swallows sound, and your breath a cloud in the icy air. Can you lead under pressure when you can hear the low groan of a building ready to collapse, or feel the vibration of boots on frozen ground coming toward you? That's it. That's it. Men are wired for clear cause and effect. When we see a threat, we want to meet it head on. When we see a need, we want to fill it. In the modern world, we're told to sit through 6 meetings and fill out 3 forms before we're authorized to solve a problem. But in the apocalypse, you just solve it. Because if you don't, people get hurt. Or worse. And it's not about craving violence. It's not about that. It's about craving urgency. It's about wanting the stakes to be real again. Carl Jung's concept of the warrior archetype fits here. The part of us that's built for courage, discipline, and sacrifice. And in a world of padded corners and warning labels, endless safety nets, that archetype doesn't die. It just gets restless. And when men are stripped of purpose and reduced to nothing but obedience, they either wither or they erupt. If you've ever felt like something's missing but couldn't quite put that into words, here's why. Modern life is a prison without bars. Think about it. You're given food, shelter, and entertainment. You're allowed to move, but only within pre-approved spaces. You are allowed to speak, but only within acceptable scripts. You're allowed to be yourself, but only if it fits the policies of that platform that you're on or the company you work for. Do you see? The walls aren't physical. They're made of dependency and distraction. And because you've never seen life outside those walls, you just think it's normal. Now, imagine waking up one day and those walls are gone. Poof, gone. Wi-Fi's dead. Grocery store shelves are empty. The smell of rotting produce heavy in the air. The water doesn't run. And when you break the ice in a barrel to scoop some out, your hands burn from the cold. The rules are no longer set by a committee, they're set by reality. Every choice matters, every failure has a cost, and every success is immediately felt. Now, when the Soviet camps emptied into the tundra each morning, survival didn't come from a memo or an official directive. It came from knowing how to split wood without wasting energy. It came from remembering which tree roots could be chewed for a trace of moisture. It came from the man who would share a scrap of bread because he knew that keeping you alive today might mean you keep him alive tomorrow. That's the raw truth in collapse. Community and competence matter more than anything else. We don't have to wait for collapse to live with that kind of purpose in our lives. We can bring pieces of that clarity into our lives right now. We can learn a skill that has nothing to do with our jobs and everything to do with survival. We can cook from scratch, grow our own food, feel the dirt under our nails, the sun on our neck. We can fix things, feel the cold weight of metal in our hands and the sound of tools on wood. We can navigate without GPS. Build something with your hands. Get splinter in your fingers and sweat in your eyes. And train your body for capability, not for likes on Instagram. Strength, endurance, mobility, resilience. Build real communities, not just comment sections or group chats. I'm saying this to me too, not just to you. I'm as much at fault as everyone else. Meet people in person who share your values and who will push you, who will depend on you and let you depend on them. Take on challenges that have a visible outcome. Something you can point to and say, that's better because I did it. Because here's the truth. The apocalypse you're missing isn't about destruction. It's about connection, contribution, consequence. Those are the things that make a man feel alive. Strip those away and you're not living, you're just simply serving time. When men say they miss the apocalypse, even if they've never lived through one, what they're really saying is, I miss a world where my presence matters. A world where there's no confusion about my role. A world where courage and contribution aren't optional extras. They're the only things that keep people alive. And the hard truth is, you don't need the end of the world to live like that. You don't. You just have to stop choosing the comfortable cage over the dangerous freedom. Stop outsourcing everything to a system that doesn't care if you're alive or dead. Stop it. Stop living like the best parts of you are optional. The apocalypse men secretly miss is a life that requires them to show up every single day. And once you've seen what happens to a man when freedom is gone, when his breath hangs in the freezing air outside a labor camp, and he counts calories to survive the walk back to his bunk, you stop thinking of freedom as optional. You start living like you're already in the fight to keep it. And that is something you can start living now.